Why are we all here tonight? Why did the format of the show change? Well, last night at 11 o'clock, Matt Biatovich, if I knew this was going to be the show, I'd have had you on, buddy. You and I had this conversation last night. Welcome to the MJF special edition of Off the Record, the Maxwell Jacob Freeman edition of Off the Record. Joining us tonight, our wrestling correspondent, Jeremy J. JJ, welcome aboard, buddy.
I've got a title now. Wow.
Hey, you appear one more time, we're just going to make you an associate producer.
Here we go now.
And of course, over to the right, the co-host in his scarf, looking fine, Howie J. Chaney.
I wish I had a ring to show you, but I don't have no ring.
Dynamite, diamond ring.
Hold on. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
Well, while Randall goes gets a prop or something, the reason that we are talking about this tonight is going to be AEW wrestling, and it's going to be all about the MJF.
Yeah. There it is.
I saw you post a picture of that ring. I'm pretty upset because I ain't got one.
There you go. But tonight it's the Dixie Dynamite ring.
If I'd have known that, I would have got my son's state championship ring.
Yeah.
Hey, this is one of the better fakes I've ever found. It even got the top that comes off and shows you where the home runs are at.
Nice.
Straight from China. Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Now, folks, let's set this back a little bit. Pay-per-view over the weekend. So let's tell it from the side that we heard it all. So Saturday was the fans meet and greet to what was this one? Double or Nothing, Howie?
Yes, Double or Nothing Fan Fest.
Yes. So in Vegas, word gets out, Mark Madden, former WCW announcer, is the one that's really leading the charge. And he texts all over the nation that basically MJF has disappeared. Correct me if I'm wrong. AEW has tried to find him. He's in a hotel gambling, and they have offered money back to people for the Fan Fest. Is this correct?
That's what I've heard.
All right. Let's go around the room. What was your first reaction, Jeremy J., the wrestling correspondent, the man of the hour, the tower of the power, too sweet to be sour? Jeremy Johnson.
A work. That's first thing I thought. A deep work. And the reason I say that is I can remember before most people even heard about MJF. It's probably been 3 or 4 years ago. He was on the Stone Cold podcast, not Broken Skull, but he had his own Stone Cold Unleashed. And listen, I thought they were going to get in an altercation. And I thought it was legit. He's that much of a heel. He's that much of he's into it. And I really believe maybe that it's a work. It's possibly a shoot/work. But that's what I thought.
All right. So you're already thinking Saturday when it comes out, possible work. Howie, what was your original thoughts?
I thought it was a shoot, to be honest. If you hear a lot of the podcast in the past about some of the meet and greets and all this other stuff, by him making kids cry because he wouldn't sign something, or basically, just tell them how ugly they were, or, just different things like that. I wouldn't put it past the guy. I mean, he's one of the best talkers in wrestling today, and, he deserves to be paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So y'all are getting way ahead of us, but we're going to come up to you. So Tony Khan does offer a refund to all those who are upset that MJF is not there. Did either one of y'all hear of anybody actually taking the refund? Because everybody else was there, right?
No.
Okay.
Samoa Joe wasn't there. He got conflict because he had something else going on, so he wasn't there. But as far as I know, everyone else was.
Okay. Did you hear of anybody, Jeremy or Howie, did you hear of anyone asking for a refund or asking for their money back at any point?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. I'm sure there was, but I didn't hear anything. Didn't see anything written or any type of report.
All right, so
yeah, because I would say it would be at least 3 digits to be able to have a meet and greet with him. I mean, that's $100 bucks at least.
The number $150 is what I heard.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's
that's no deal, but for somebody like me, I got to get that 50 back.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, don't. I don't want no substitute now. Don't bring any substitute out there. If I paid to meet MJF, I don't want to meet. I don't know. My mind went blank, but
you don't want to meet Max Caster from the Acclaimed.
Or, I'd be afraid he'd cut a route promo on me or something.
So you're saying if you paid $150, it better be MJF instead of Sonny Kiss?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I want one of the top tier talents, right? If I paid that amount of money, you know, I got to have it. I mean, you can throw Danhausen in there. I might meet Danhausen. I'd be into that.
All right, so it goes to then Sunday in the pay-per-view, and it came out Sunday again. Mark Madden tweeting, a few other people. They didn't know if MJF was showing up for the pay-per-view. Did both of you hear this? That Tony Khan is upset with him, going to suspend him. I heard suspended. It won't be on TV for a while after the pay-per-view. But there was some question whether he'd be at the pay-per-view. But he shows up at the pay-per-view, the first match, which I think is interesting too, to the story, and is destroyed by Wardlow to the point he is carted out of the ring, which went unexplained the next night or Wednesday night on Dynamite. But he's on a stretcher, carted out, 10 power bombs. And I'm thinking at that point, Jeremy, I think he's being punished for what he's done.
Well, no, not really. Because watching the build up to this, I mean, look, let's just be quite honest. Everybody wants to see him get his ass kicked. I mean,
that's the reason he's so great.
And right. And so the fact that I mean, you know, they built him Wardlow. He's the power bomb master, if you will. And you had to believe he's going to get 5 to 10 of them, period. I mean, you just had to know he's going to finally get his. So I didn't think about it like that. I do think it's interesting that the match was first, which they typically, even with Dynamites, they like to start pretty hot, you know, with a good match. But that is a little odd. There that it was first. I would almost say that should have been the main event, to be honest with you.
Howie, when you were watching it, what did you think?
You know, I'll be honest. I bought the event to watch it, and I debated all day whether or not to buy it because I had read where he had purchased a plane ticket to get out that night to keep from having to do the show, possibly a red eye the next morning to get out. I bought the pay-per-view with like 10 minutes to go. because I wanted to know for sure. If it wasn't going to be on it, that's the only match I really wanted to see.
Right.
And I paid the money to watch it. And when I found out it was on, it was the first match, I purchased it. And, it didn't surprise me by it turning out the way it did, because you know that they weren't going to let Wardlow walk from AEW, period,
Mm-mm.
So, but what did surprise me is that it was the first match. And I did hear today, which is hearsay, that it was supposed to went on right before the main event, but it got changed. So that's why the Jurassic 12, 50-man tag team match, whatever they call it, was on right before the main event. But,
boy.
yeah. But yeah, I it turned out the way I thought it should have. But like
Mhm.
Randy said, I'm surprised that nothing was mentioned about the stretcher last night.
Yeah.
AEW.
I'm going to play a little clip. This is only 30 seconds, so Tony Khan, don't sue me. I just want y'all to hear some of this. So, I got to get it up because it was epic power bombs. It wasn't just, I mean, it was like, yeah. Here we go. I'm going to play it. It's on YouTube, so I'm hoping I'm safe. We're at 4, and you can hear his body just thudding. And what? Every one of them, the crowd was like, "Oh yeah!" And he took 10 of them, JJ.
All the good stuff.
Yeah.
He took
For
10
real.
of them.
Yeah.
So they moved the match. At this point, I'm thinking MJF's fired. I'm thinking this is a work. I'm thinking he's done. And then credit to Brian Alvarez. He started putting tweets out there saying, "Y'all, this may be a shoot. This may be, they may be doing business here." Is the best part of wrestling actually when they get the mainstream media, which they've had mainstream coverage? That's the best part of wrestling, Jeremy. Howie?
Yeah.
Howie, go first on this one. It's the best part. They've got the whole world confused.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first heard about it Sunday, I got to thinking, is this another Austin McMahon type employee against the boss type deal? And and it still could be. I don't know. What I don't like about it, and what the difference between today and 20 years ago was, the social media is kind of killing it by people putting out there, hey, it's a work, it's a shoot, or whatever. I like the discussion, but don't put the reasoning why you know that it is or isn't. That's to me, that's what kind of has killed wrestling, is social media, by everybody putting everything out there.
And if this is true, Jeremy, this is one time that, and I'm not sure, I would like to think in my head, and we'll go through the theories behind this in a little bit. I would like to think in my head, very few people actually know what's happening.
Yeah. Really small. All this speculation, all of the things that happen. Right. There's probably only how he held up 3 fingers. That's probably the case. It depends. And if MJF is talking to a lot of people around the locker room, or if he's doing this, that, or the other, that's one thing. Or if Tony's talking, but the part that makes wrestling cool, or with what really makes it interesting, is some of this. Well, I don't know. Guy gets hurt. Well, I don't know if that was real, or not. Sometimes that's to me right now, because we all know when I was a kid, you thought it was real. They broke Dusty's leg, man. I hate the Horsemen. How dare they break Dusty's leg? You know, you thought there was a big part of me that believed it, and so my great grandparents too. By the way, I've heard stories about that. But
And my granddaddy would swing a cane like he was getting in the ring.
right. So right now we all know. Hey, we know it's not real. It's but can it be realistic enough to make you wonder? Can you get? I'm wondering. Is it So is this situation real? Is he really that angry? Because I mean, he called him a, effing mark.
Yeah.
So I mean, is he really that angry, or is this all, is this fake? Is this kayfabe? Is it, I love it. I think it's awesome.
I would say
now,
we're three intelligent guys. We know wrestling. I was in the business for a while. We don't know. I cannot. I have an opinion. I have a strong opinion that this is a work. But there's also a part of me that goes, and it has to do with the fact that, TBS is in a merger. Tony Khan could be looking for another markets for his TV, and we just don't know about it. There's obviously trying to get eyes on the product, but everything Maxwell J. Freeman said, MJF said, is stuff we have said between each other. How he spoke the truth from a fan's perspective.
Yeah, it's like I told Jeremy earlier today, and I may have even told you this. He is the envy of nearly every person in the world by being able to just go out and tell your boss what you think.
Yeah,
that's
hey, basically, what's the old saying? Takes his job and shove it. He basically said that last night.
All right.
Okay, can I throw something in right here?
Yes, sir.
So
that's the reason you're the wrestling correspondent.
The first time, I feel privileged. The first time this came up earlier or late last week, you start seeing little this and that. There was speculation because he was trained by Brian Myers. He was trained by Buck, I think, and there was a WWE connection and all that. And the people that are speculating that he's going to WWE. Here's one thing. Would he make more money? Yes, probably would. But do you think for 1 minute that MJF would be allowed to say and to do some of the things that he's done in AEW?
I've thought about this too, and I thought about it a lot. By the way, just a little background. We've had a group text going about this subject today just because we've done nothing but talking about it.
Yeah.
If you signed, I'll go back to MWL wrestling with MJF. Him and Hammerstone had a group called Down There together, and they were great. And I'm surprised they haven't brought Alexander Hammerstone up with MJF to AEW, but he stayed in the Major League Wrestling, and he's actually their world champion. But this MJF you have in AEW is the same MJF you had in MLW. If you sign him in the WWE and make him anything other than who he is,
right,
you're wasting the greatest talent of this generation. And I do not use this lightly. There's wrestlers I like. We all know I used to mark for Cody until he took off to the WWF. I'm really, really excited about seeing Kazuchika Okada at the Worlds Collide. I've talked about Okada with Howie since. I've talked about Okada probably more to Howie in the last 5 years than any wrestler in the world. Super excited to see Okada. None of those guys put as good in-ring skills, as good a mic skills, and as good a psychology together as MJF. I've still got Major League Wrestling on my mind.
Yeah.
None of them does it. Or am I wrong?
I agree with Jeremy is what he's saying. What he said, if MJF goes to WWE, they're going to try to change him. They will change his name. They will change everything that he says because everybody knows that WWE is a scripted show.
Well, just this
And
weekend, they changed the Rain. What's her name? Ava Rain or something. Simone Johnson, The Rock's daughter. If they're changing The Rock's daughter's name, they're going to change MJF's name.
yeah, they're going to try to tone him down, and they'll make him look like a fool when he gets there because he can't be the person he truly is.
Well, there was comments made about he'd just be another Miz, which, let's just be honest, Miz has had a pretty dang good career.
Miz
and
is
made
maybe
a lot
the
of
best
money.
heel in the WWE.
And yeah, I've always thought he's been underutilized in that role because the guy can go. He's a good talent. He's great on the mic. And I can't blame a young guy for if there's opportunity there to make more money. I can't blame him for being upset if these guys that are coming in later making more money. But here's the thing: he signed he signed a contract, dude. Wait till your contract's up. You've got leverage now. Pay the man, but wait till wait till your contract's up. Then you've got plenty of leverage. You can negotiate, and because he's money.
There's no doubt that CM Punk's making more money than anybody. But I do not doubt either that the people that have came in like Miro and Aleister Black, I would bet they're making more money than MJF right now.
But I've been in this position, and I'm speaking for y'all too. Y'all probably been in a position, been at a job, doing something, and they bring somebody else in and pay them more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know what he's going like. This is why I said he's the envy of nearly everybody in the world because of the fact of he spoke his piece to his boss last night.
It was awesome.
So I'm gonna put something out before we get started here. Listen, we all are man that don't use foul language, and we might say a occasional one that slip out. And I'm probably the worst. I don't condone it, but I think it's important to this show that we hear this interview. Though I'm going to try to catch the one reference that I really can't stand, which is the GD reference. I'm going to let the rest of them fly as he said them. The F-bombs are bleeped at the end of it because that's part of the video. I didn't do that. But I'll try to catch a couple of the worst ones of them. But y'all, this is it in its entirety. Not issued by AEW, but not brought down by AEW. Some website with like 500 followers has this posted. Here we go. Maybe you have to play the ad first. Yeah, well, give me 5 seconds and I'll get.
There we go.
I should have played the ad before I made my whole little speech. Here you go.
I am in a lot of pain right now after what happened on Sunday.
Losing to Wardlow.
But all you people want to do is hear me talk, right? That's what you want, right? You want to hear me talk? I'll talk, but this is Max Freeman talking.
All right, first important point. Right there, he removes the Burberry scar. He does not refer to himself as MJF. He brings it to a very personal level. I thought this set the tone for the interview.
Yep.
All right. Any comment?
No, I agree with you. I didn't think about it last night while I was watching, but hearing it again and and when you said that, I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Here we go.
Big merger, boss. A lot of important executives here tonight to watch your product. Would be a real shame if something bad happened.
A merger going on between the network now.
I wouldn't want to embarrass you, man. Speaking of embarrassing, you've been trying to sit down with me to hash things out for quite some time now, Too little, too late.
At this point, the crowd is totally eating him alive. The shut the up is chanting in the background. No one is on his side, but that's going to flip here in a minute.
Here's why. When this company first started, it was all friends wrestling. Everybody was handed a ticket, except for me. See, I had to write my own. And boy, do I have good penmanship, because I created moment after moment after moment for this company, and I still get no respect.
Howie, your reaction was priceless just then. What were you thinking?
You know, you see all these guys in the WWE and even some in the AEW giving these promos. They're quote unquote screaming, but they're not doing it with emotion. You can tell a difference between an ad lib and doing it with emotion. He's doing it with emotion. He is speaking from the heart.
100%. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, that was so good when he mentioned writing his own ticket, and and you know that's one thing to say that, but then he throws in, "Boy, do I have good penmanship, man! That's so good. I swear it's so good, man."
He has feuded with every top star in the company.
Wow.
Here we go.
Nobody is on my level. No one. Everything I touch turns to gold. There is nothing I can't do. Every time I come out here, I am not expected to hit home runs. I am expected to hit grand slams. And I do that shit on a weekly basis. See, all the other boys, they get to settle for being great. I have to be perfect because I'm the 26-year-old who is constantly held under a microscope because I'm the only guy who is capable of carrying this company on my back as I have for months.
I love the reference to his age. He is so young. We forget how young he is. And I think there's a reference there to the fact that Cody's left. We haven't seen Kenny Omega in months. And really, he's been, along with Hangman, most storylines have evolved around MJF. Right now, it's a good promo. It's not great, but it's about to get great.
It's funny I hear boos, but I also hear clapping. That's interesting. Where were you guys this whole weekend when you were calling me an unprofessional piece of shit? I'm just curious. You're not the only problem. No, it's the boys in the back too. Because the boys in the back all want my spot. Well, guess what? You want my spot, you can have it. Because I don't want to be here anymore. Now let's talk about you fans, huh? You people call your...
The fans had come to his side and was cheering him at this point. But he can't let that alone. He's got to still be Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Fans, you're not fans. You're uneducated marks. You sit there on your phones tweeting out your opinions like they're worth a damn. Let me explain something to you people. You don't know shit.
I thought that was one of the better lines of the whole thing.
Suck. Your opinions change at the drop of a dime, and then you pretend your new opinions are the same as your own. For example, man, I always knew MJF was a good wrestler. Really? That's interesting. Because last time I checked, you guys pretended I sucked in the ring for a long time. And why is that, huh? Because I'm not untrained like all your faves? because I don't pretend to watch New Japan, because I don't dump my opponents on their head, because I'm not.
I think to dump the opponents on your head is a straight shot at Samoa Joe, who famously dumped Tyson Kidd on his head, and he's been paralyzed and unable to wrestle since.
Reckless? What is it? Is it because I'm not chasing star ratings, guys? What is it?
Bucks, a shot at the
How
Bucks.
could I possibly be the best? Well, newsflash, I am the best! I'm the best in the world! Because I'm the only guy who makes you feel. And unlike all those boys, I don't gotta do a bunch of bullshit to get you there.
I have to pause there. He just basically took the stars. And did anybody notice the shot at CM Punk? I am the best in the world. I just now realized that that's a Punk shot. At this point, Jeremy, it's gone from good to great.
Well, here's what I thought, and as he goes on, look, that's Ric Flair right there, dude. That to me, that's some of those passionate Ric Flair. I'm like, dude, when he tells the guy to shut up, I mean, we're getting to it, but I just kind of it went up several notches. Right
it's
there.
about right, yes,
and you could feel it in the crowd. I was sitting there watching it live, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy.
So I was watching it on my phone, and I literally started out by laying on. I don't watch a whole lot of TV because Dish Networks allows me to stream it, and my phone's in 4K, and I just lay in bed and watch it. And I was laying in bed on my side with my phone here, and by the time he finished, I was standing beside my bed with my phone right here, just like I was almost like Booker T going, you know.
So wait a minute, right there. Isn't that what good wrestling is about, though?
100%.
It made you get up. It made that crowd go wild. They were going nuts.
I marked out. We're about 5 minutes into it. There's a couple minutes. I hope I catch this, GD. If I don't, everybody just be patient.
Can I bring up a point real quick?
Yes.
Whether it's a work or a shoot, how bad is this going to affect the locker room by him making all those comments?
There is two ways to look at that. That is, and I think All Elite's been, if this is a work, it's okay. If this is a shoot, I wouldn't want to be MJF in that locker room. I don't want Lance Floyd hearing this and going, "You're talking about me?" I mean, seriously.
He may legit need Wardlow.
Yeah. Yes. MJF could be in a fake fight. MJF beat up any of them. In a real fight, I worry about his health. All right. And Paul Wright and Mark Henry, and here we go.
Generational talent, and you people consistently take me for granted, but it's not just you. It's the big man in the back, too. Here's something you guys can't take for granted, something he doesn't want you to know. Do you guys know who the second biggest minute-for-minute draw is in this entire company? Nope, you wish. It's me. It's me. And if you don't believe me, do me a favor. Ask Statboy Tony in the back, see what he's got to say. But whatever you do, don't ask him to reach into his pockets and pay the man who's been busting his ass for him.
All right, we're going to edit that little piece out. It's one of the better pieces, but I don't want to air it. Here we go. He's basically said Tony Khan won't reach in his pocket and pay him.
Listen to the crowd.
Hey, boss, would you treat me better if I was an ex-WWE guy? See, maybe you don't get it, man. Here's the problem with you, boss. You got a position of power in a wrestling company every position you should be assuming is behind the guardrail with all of them. I don't want to wait till 2024, but you don't listen to me. So allow me to make it a little bit easier for you. Tony, I want you to fire me. Tony, don't tell me down, you piece of shit. Shut your mouth.
There it is.
Look at me, Tony. Look at me. I want you to fire me. You fire me.
The mic goes dead at this point. Guys, I'm just going to say this. Whatever your opinion of what just happened is, we've already said it. I ranked it in the top 5. I think all of us ranked it in the top 5. And if I was going to put them in order right now, it would be 5th. After hearing that, that may be one of the 2 best promos I've ever heard. Jeremy, what? I mean, my stomach is upset right now. My skin, if you can see it, I've got goosebumps on my arms right now. That's pro wrestling.
Yeah. That's what makes it great, man. And you don't get that. There's good things that happen. There's things that go, oh, man, that's kind of neat. Or that's cool. That was dang good. That one will go down, that'll be one of those 20 years from now. People will be pulling up going, man, listen to this guy. And the weird part about it is he could still be wrestling. He's 40, he could be 46 years old. And, Howie and I were talking about this. We were texting back and forth. You don't see MJF wrestle a lot. No. You don't see, he's not week in and week out. Now, he shouldn't be. So his bump card, as they say, he's not gonna fill it up there if he keeps that rate, because the guy can talk, man. Like he said, he didn't have to do that. He don't have to do any of that stuff to get people. I mean,
he may have lost a year on that bump card after all those power bombs last Sunday, but there's still a lot left.
Yeah, it's true. Could be worse. He could have got slammed on the steps or something. So, but man, that was so good. Golly bum. That has to be, Randall, I'm with you. It's top 5. It's got to be 1 or 2.
I told y'all too today that it was the best I've ever saw. And, it goes down to the fact of, if you take the old NWA, Flair, Dusty and all that, if you played that to a wrestling fan and played this with MJF to a wrestling fan, they would think it was back in the 80s. They would never thought it's in the 20s, 2020s.
I was waiting on him to say.
The best compliment I can give this promo is, if this was Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling in 1987, that promo would have fit in.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jeremy.
Now, and it would have been legit if he'd said that, but I wanted to hear him say Tony Schiavone. Oh, it was.
I was at a I think it was a WCW Thunder when Flair was in the ring cutting a promo, and the guy that was holding the camera on the floor had a guy standing beside him, kind of like producing or whatever, and he was telling Flair to do this, and he looked at that, and Flair looked at that guy and said, "I'll shut up when I get ready to shut up, not when you tell me to." And it reminded me back to then when MJF told that guy, hey, leave me alone.
Don't wrap me up.
We danced all around it, but I'm going to tell you I'm going to hear a non-constraint, non-WWE version of Roddy Piper. To me, that is a Piper. Piper was so good at playing the vilified villain. Mm-hmm. I'm the villain, but it's not my fault. You made me this way. And I heard a lot of that in that. I heard a lot of, what I came away with is he dusted the truth and said, hey, I come and I entertain you all and I give everything and you love me. But when it comes down to really supporting me, you don't have my back.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the fans. It's true. It's a very true thing. I hated it. I still hate it. I hate him worse than anybody there. But that's his job, and I should appreciate how good he is. And it's almost like he's saying that to the fans. You know, and I wonder if there's not some of that. I am very good at my job, but yet I remember the outrage when he was put cleanly over Jericho a few months or maybe a year or two ago. Do y'all sense some of that? Like, you didn't think I was good enough to get a win over Jericho, or you didn't think I was good enough to main event this, or you didn't think I was good enough. And here I've proved you all wrong. And yet you're fickle. Mm-hmm. And Tony Khan won't pay me, and none of you support me, no matter how much entertainment I gave you. Oh, here he got the goosebumps again. Right there, boys. So, what was your favorite part of it, Jeremy?
You know, when he talked about, you know, the WWE guys, I mean, the crowd went, you heard the crowd.
The crowd is not happy with, I take it, me as a big AEW fan, Jeremy, are you happy with all that? I'm tired of the WWE guys. There's some that I want to see, but is it becoming more about ex-WWE guys?
Well, there's a lot of them, and I think a lot of it has to do with the use. They have a big enough roster that they could have, you know, I know we got a 3-hour Raw, a 2-hour SmackDown, and an NXT for WWE. They got a big enough roster. I know they've got an hour pre-tape Rampage. They've got enough of a roster. They could have 5 hours worth of programming or more every week, and you would not see the same. You could have different storylines. It's not that. All the guys that have come in, I like them. I like, hey, look, I love Johnny Elite. I've always loved John Morrison. Now he's going to be a jobber. I mean, he's going to be doing what he's always done. But they don't get. I like all those guys. I think it adds value to the whole product. So I just take all those guys away right now, and where would AEW be? So you yes, definitely MJF. You still got the Young Bucks. I can't stand them. I've got the same opinion Jim Cornette when it comes to Young Bucks. I can't stand them. You know, they bring a lot to the table. I don't get tired of it. Now if it continues, yes. They brought on guys I don't think they should have brought on. Tony Nese. Why are you even signing him? Good looking guy, but they're not using him. Tony Nese. Keith Lee. What, you brought Keith Lee in here to be a part of a tag team? And it's you know, so. Some of those guys, you know, Buddy, the guy with the
Buddy Matthews.
Great guy. That don't, you know, I think they should have left Malachi Black by himself. They're not really doing anything with this. I don't know.
I got a question for y'all.
Go ahead.
Could AEW turn old real quick by bringing in all the WWE wrestlers?
Could.
Let me throw a unique, what I think the WWE guys have done. Early on, we had a group of young stars coming. And MJF, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara. There was one more, that Hangman. And I feel like the WWE guys these guys were on the verge of being the stars, but I feel like they all took a step back when the WWE guys showed up. And you're not at the top of the card where I thought you were going to be. You're now the top of the card. Let's face it, was one of those guys, Adam Page, but it was against CM Punk. Instead of the FTR being on the show, we had the Hardys. Well, I'll be honest with you. I love Matt and Jeff, but I'd rather seen FTR.
Yeah.
We had, and FTR is an ex-WWE, but they're not as associated with the WWE. I mean, some of those guys left the WWE for freedom, you know? I think the roster is complete, and now they're struggling with managing the roster, if that makes sense to you. There's too much talent there. In the early beginning, they only had a little bit of talent. You had to make the most of it. You had Jericho, you had Moxley, you had Omega, you had Page, you had the Bucks. And you've seen them decline a little bit. The Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, they're not in the same role they were a year and a half ago.
Hey, Darby Allin. Hey, I mean, I thought, man, this guy, and it seems like now he's sort of, they put him in that 75-man tag team last night. You know, it was just a hodgepodge of people.
If they don't control him, he's going to be out of wrestling in 5 years. He won't be able to walk.
Yeah.
Oof.
When Darby Allin wrestled CM Punk, that's what I want to see, Jeremy. I want to see these young kids work with these veterans, but I don't want to see a replay of WWE 10 years ago. I don't want to see the Hardy Boys versus themselves. To me, the Hardy Boys.
Christian.
Yeah. And we saw the same match. It was the same match with the Young Bucks, you know? So, all right, back to MJF. And we got about 10 minutes. I want to ask you all a couple questions, a couple things that I wanted to get your both opinions on. After an hour, 50 minutes of us talking, we've heard it all. Is it work, shoot, or both? Jeremy, start with you, buddy.
It's both. I think it's both from the start. I think what he said is legit.
I do too.
And I think behind the scenes, and like we said, there's 3 people probably that know, or like Howie said, there's only a handful of people that really know what's going on. But I think they're using that to their advantage instead of, hey, look, there's an opportunity right here. This will be great while we're trying to work this out. That's kind of where I think it may not work out. But I don't see where he goes. I think his money is right there to stay right there. And I think if you're Tony Khan, you need to pay the guy. But because I don't think he's going to be let loose like he is, WWE would be the only other place that I think he could make the money that he'll make in AEW. And they're not going to give him, he's going to be on a short leash, and he's going to be told, you can't say this, you can't do this, here's the script. It may change 5 minutes before we go on air. I just don't see it, man. He needs to stay there and make money.
As great as Piper was, how many times did WWE fire him? All right, Howie. Man, you've been in this since day one. I got the same question for you, and then I'm going to ask it a little different. Did MJF speak from the heart and the frustration of him and some of the AEW originals that's been passed over?
It's like JR says, it's either cash or creative. And I agree with what Jeremy said. I think it's both a work and a shoot. And the reason I say that is what you brought up earlier about the media bigwigs from Warner being there last night.
Yeah.
AEW is probably getting a lot of heat from them saying, hey, the numbers have got to be better. And what a better way to bring in more viewership than come up with something just like this. I think he spoke from the heart because of what the AEW people said. You know, the talent has gone through. Just like I said earlier, we've all been at a job that we've been overlooked at, and new people has been brought in, and the job's been given to them. And I think that the AEW originals feel the same way. And I feel like that may be one of the reasons that Cody. I know you're not going to like this, Randy, but I think this is one of the reasons that Cody went to the WWE was because he knew what the WWE people was making when they came into AEW, and he wanted that type of money, and Tony just wouldn't come across it.
I agree, and I've been thinking about Cody a lot, and I think there's some Cody. Now backstage, Cody mentored MJF. That's been in the public for a long time. The line about you're fickle and you act like your opinions are always your opinions, but that's not. You change them from week to week. Think about Cody's career in AEW. The hero to he was booed unmercifully the last 6 months he was in there. And nobody, not even me, who's one of the biggest Rhodes fans in the world. I don't even think his brother, they've asked him about it, can put his finger on it. The only thing that people can come up with was people didn't like Brandy. And that's true. People don't like Brandy. But, I mean, Cody went from over to hate it, Jeremy.
Yeah, he did. And Howie and I, you know, we went to a live event and he went to the burning table, burned his back up, killing himself. And people were not, he spoke after that, you know, he cut a short promo or whatever. And I didn't really like him myself. I never was a huge Dusty fan, but I'm not gonna lie. You know, he said in an interview the main reason he left was the title, and what he did, he put himself out of the title picture because of him being an executive, because he didn't want to give the impression that he was, as Dusty was always accused, he booked himself,
and rightly so.
Right. And that's what I didn't like about Dusty. He always wanted to insert himself. And that's somewhat what I felt about Cody. Even though he's trying to stay away from the titles because he doesn't want to, you know, anybody new came in, guess who they wrestled? They wrestled Cody. They wrestled Cody first.
He made the statement that he did not want to be the gatekeeper of AEW.
Yeah. So And I know you're not a WWE guy, and I don't watch a lot of it, but I'm not gonna lie. I like this WWE Cody. I like it a lot. I don't know if you guys seen the Hell in a Cell poster, and I'm buying it, man. I really am.
Everybody in Las Vegas saw the poster because he had that truck going around the AEW arena.
Well, that's cool. Man, Vince is sitting somewhere going,
let me tell you. Let me tell you the part about Cody I can't. Here's my issue with Cody, and then we'll wrap this up. And I've never told anybody this, and I am the ultimate Dusty fan. Even though Dusty treated me when I was working for WCW, and I've told Howie this, Dusty treated me like crap. And then it was years later, I realized this dude is main eventing, booking the show. I got it, you know. I figured out what he was about. So Cody to me was the guy who made All Elite. It was from his head. The first tweet about All Elite Wrestling was, I bet you can't get a bunch of independent guys and fill up a 10,000-seat arena. And Cody said, I'll take that bet. Cody left the WWE and kind of led the charge. And, you know, there was an underground movement of Kenny Omega, the Bucks. But Kenny Omega never comes back from Japan if it's not for All Elite. He's happy over there. He's a superstar over there. The Bucks, they've got a good thing going. They're making $200,000 or $300,000 a year probably. Cody really was, I think, the cream that stirred the pot that caused AEW to happen. And for him to leave, to me, it was like you were unhappy in the WWE. You came up and used up all these resources to create AEW. You said all these horrible things. You really took Triple H to task. And now you say Triple H your idol. It just feels like he completely flopped to me. And it's hard for me to go, okay, now, Cody, you flopped, and I'm going to flop back with you. I'm kind of, there's enough of the truth that it doesn't taste well for me. How about, do y'all see what I'm talking about? Or is it just me being a mark?
We all are. We all are. No, I don't know if Howie, if you got any, you going to reply there. I don't want to interrupt.
Go ahead, Howie. I know you.
No, go ahead. I understand what you're saying about 100%.
I do too, but with us being in the age of analysis right now, everybody's analyzing, politics, all the. Look, at a certain point, I just want to watch and enjoy it. What? I want to watch Cody come up out of the floor and smoke.
Love it.
And I love it. I want to hear that music play. And you know what? He's a great wrestler. And so I just try to, put him in a good feud with somebody, put him with Rollins, which is great. And all this. Hey, look, MJF, you know what? He probably deserves the money. If he's there, I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to hate him. And if he leaves, I'll somebody else will be there. I'll find something else just to be entertained, man.
I'd be lying to say that I won't be there when they put the world title on Cody, because that whole storyline with Dusty, that is it.
Cool.
It did get to me. So,
Howie, and it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, Howie, you got any final words? Jeremy, I'll come back for your final words too.
I'm the Howie Chaney. I'm better than you, and you know it.
The co-host. You're going to be asking me for extra money soon.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, Jeremy. What you got, buddy?
All I want to say is if we come back, if I'm over on here again and Howie's got a Burberry scarf on, it's going to be... whatever it is, whatever it turns out to be, it's dang good. I do wonder.
Rise up.
Look, those Falcons helmets that you showed today. That's it. That's it right
that's
there,
real.
Man.
That's going to be a subject at some point.
I hate the Falcons. I don't hate them. I just swore them off after they blew a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. But back to the MJF, it's dang good. And it just bothers me that it seems like the Wardlow deal is put behind. I think they could have carried that on for a while. That concerns me. That makes me wonder if this is really, it. But dang, good stuff. I'm going to enjoy it while it's there.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I can't even say it. He's better than us, and we know it. Howie Chaney. Next weekend, I will be here on Off the Record Randall with our buddy Tyler Van. And if he says he's better than Tyler Van, I think Coach Tyler will come over and pop him.
Tyler Van. Cut my music. Cut my music.
Jeremy, have you started getting ready for football season and 5 football yet, or are you
not yet. They had a jamboree game. Played Sachs for a half. Beat Sachs, which that Sachs is the team that put them out of the playoffs last year in the quarterfinals. Played Coosa Christian for a half. I think they won both halves. I didn't get to go watch. We'll start preparing here when probably about August, maybe late July.
plug your broadcast just a minute. Give us all the details of it. Where are you at?
Well, I'm working with Fun 92.7 out of Arab, Alabama, and it's the Red Devil Radio Network. Arab nights football gets the FM broadcast on Friday nights unless they're not playing. However, we do. You can stream it live on Facebook. That's Red Devil Radio Show. You can also catch the replay on Saturday mornings on Fun 92.7. Adam Ward. I don't know if you know Adam. He's a great play-by-play guy. Adam's fantastic, and last year was my first year to work with those guys. Adam is fantastic, and Greg Mears is a Fife alumni, been around a long time. He's a good analyst for football. He's got some great one-liners, man. we would throw some in there during some of those blowout games, but looking forward to another season. Hopefully, we're a little more successful than last year. It's not every day that you say your season was a little bit of a disappointment and you lost in the quarterfinals of the state playoffs. But when you're at Fife, that's the case. Great team. I'm looking forward to it. I had a blast last year, and I'm learning on the job. By the way, we were learning. Greg and I both were learning. So hopefully be better next. I think we were rolling at the latter part of last year and doing pretty good. Kind of like announcing doing the PA announcements. Howie, I think it took us all season, and by the last game of the season, man, we were rolling pretty good. But yeah.
And then of course Howie will be with Coach Van in the Coach Van show that we'll have weekly on here.
Sweet.
And then I will be with Coach Van. I'm gonna do double duty this year. I'm gonna call Sequatchie County's games. Coach Van's gonna download me a copy of their game, and then we're gonna do a post-game show with him on Sunday or Monday night where we review the Sylvania game. So I don't know how this is gonna work out, but we're gonna try to do it. So
Tyler Van's a great guy.
I love Coach Van.
Actually went to school with both of his parents. I'm old enough to be his dad. But yeah, he's a great kid. He done a fantastic job at Sylvania. I believe they're going to, if he sticks around, I think you're going to see Sylvania year in, year out be pretty strong contender for sure.
Well, we'll probably get that old grumpy guy from down at Fife on here at least for an hour before the season starts. We had him last year. He refused to do the stream. We just had to put him on the audio.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't that he refused to do the stream. He's just not technically able to do it. He's technically
challenged. I didn't want to say that because I want him back this year. But
you're talking, you're talking old school football coach, buddy, and he's one of he's a rare breed now for sure. But
hey, Jeremy, I'm gonna give you the best line of the night. I'm giving him a hard time about he's got a tight end that signed with UAB. He threw the ball to him 20 times in 3 years.
Yeah.
And he gets done and he kind of pauses and he goes, Randall, what's the object of football? I go, Coach, score a touchdown. He goes, well, he scored 15 in those 20 throws we had. So I think I've done a good job managing him.
And I don't know if you've ever laid eyes on the kid. Legit athlete, and he's got the size, he's got the speed for that position, and he's got the athletic ability. And I think from what I'm hearing, I don't know that he'll start this year as a redshirt freshman, but he's going to get significant playing time. And I fully expect him. He's going because UAB's offensive scheme, they use 2 tight ends a lot. He's going to be on the field, barring injury. And then I will throw in also walk on Ike Rowell, who was the quarterback that state championship year before last. He walked on at UAB. He's probably 4.4, 4.5 speed. Kid's grown a little bit, and I think he's done some good stuff down there as a walk-on, and I think he may earn that scholarship.
That's huge.
Sure.
That's what we all do this for.
Good kids too. Good
Yeah,
kids.
you know, you talk about Coach Van. He's willing to put up with me and Howie every week for an hour.
Oh man,
He's pretty brave. He ain't so far. We've been doing something with him for about the last 6-7 months.
Yeah,
and we ain't threw nothing at him that he won't try to do. So that's and next week, if you get on here, you can hear about the Sylvania football camp coming up. Got young ones in the area. Get them out. Let them work with the coaches. Let them work with some people at the next level. I know Coach Benefield does a camp too. You gotta get your kids in these camps. That's where they learn. But we can talk high school football for 3 or 4 hours. But
yeah.
all I've got to say is Howie's better than you and I. And we know.
Hey, I know it. I already know it.
For Randall Cunningham, for wrestling correspondent of River City Media, Jeremy Johnson. He just got the job tonight, y'all. It's official. We're going to give him the title.
When am I getting a check?
It's in the mail.
We've got one sponsor, but he don't pay us enough for us to get by with it.
There be tens of people see this. I want my money.
Hey, Jeremy. Actually, if we hire you, you've got to send us a check to help pay for our access. So.
I love it.
Howie Chaney. I'm Randall Cunningham, and we're off the record.